Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. So this is just going to be a quick vlog to give you some updates on a couple of things that have gone on here in the past few days. We'll get back to all the gardening stuff here in all of my future videos, but this is just a quick vlog post. So I hope you all had a happy Easter weekend if you celebrate Easter or do family things or whatever it is that you might do. We had a good Easter weekend here. Did some family things on Sunday, and on Saturday I moved a bunch of mulch into the chicken run. So speaking of mulch, the mulch came from our big maple tree that normally would be right here behind me, where I've done many of the videos in the past out here on this deck that was around this tree. Now, if you saw my video, I don't know, a few weeks or a couple months ago, I forget when I posted it, but on verticillium wilt, I talked about how verticillium wilt had got into our maple tree. Verticillium wilt is a fungal disease that will not only affect many species of trees, but also will affect a lot of your garden plants like tomatoes and peppers and those kinds of things can get verticillium wilt. Our big favorite maple, our most favorite tree in the yard, had verticillium wilt, and it has been slowly declining over the past several years. We did have it treated a couple times, but that only slows it. You can't get rid of it. It's something that's in the soil that will, if you have it, you can have plants that are affected by it. So you can slow it and when it affects your trees, you can keep the trees around maybe a little bit longer, but they will slowly die off from this disease. And so we did that, but each year we were cutting off various limbs out of the tree to where it got to the point that really the bulk of the weight of the tree came right up over my head, kind of here, right out over the deck and over towards where our above ground pool is and the deck for the above ground pool. And the fear was that at some point because there was so much weight there, that would weaken the tree enough that it could split off of the trunk and come down, kill somebody, or at the very least completely damage the garden deck, the pool, the pool deck, who knows what else. So we finally made a decision this year that tree would come down. And so on Friday, they came out and cut the tree down, and here is a time-lapse video of them taking the tree down during that day. So while it's very sad that we lost that tree, for those of you, most of you probably don't know, this house that I live in now was a house that my parents bought back in 1989. I lived here in my senior year of high school and my very early years of college. Lived here off and on, during those early years before I went out on my own. But in 2012, Mitzi and I bought this house from my dad, and we've lived here ever since. So when my parents bought the house in '89, this tree was here, this big maple tree, and it has provided the shade in the summertime over our whole backyard, and was one of our favorite trees to sit underneath, and we built a deck around it and all that kind of thing. So I'm sad that it is gone because it was a really big tree. However, we did save all of the tree. We had them, all the smaller stuff, they mulched up for us. I got a great big pile of very nice small wood chips that I am currently filling the chicken run with. and the chickens are loving it. And because that area was getting kind of muddy, of the old mulch that was in there was had been scratched down to nothing, and so now they have a new batch of mulch that makes it much nicer for walking around, especially when it rains. It's not muddy in there anymore. So we kept all that mulch. All the kind of random size logs or pieces, they cut into 16 to 18 inch lengths for me, which I will then split and use for firewood in our fireplace. And then the trunk, they cut 4 big slabs out of, which I plan on making into tables in time. And I will do probably future videos on that, but the wood needs to kind of dry out some. I need to do some slow drying since I don't have a kiln to dry wood with. I can't kiln dry it, but we'll do some slow drying so I can make a decent table out of, or actually multiple tables out of is what my plan is, like just kind of big round tables to sit around. I might sell a couple if they come out okay, so we'll see how that goes. The guys did a great job with taking that huge tree down. We did have one damage on the deck. One of the last sections that they cut, the branch came down and snapped off one of my top railing ledges right here. However, you know, they were like, you know, we'll fix that and we're sorry about that. And I had a bar up here on the deck that I'm not going to be using anymore since we've been building these tables and stuff. So I had taken the bar apart, and I have these same boards that are already stained the same color of the deck. So I was like, don't worry about it. I'll just cut a piece out of those boards I took off the bar and refit it in here. It's no big deal. The fact that they took that massive tree down around my big deck with only one little top railing board being split that I can fix very easily, I think was a testament to how well that they did the job and how quickly they did the job. So yeah, we got the big slabs, we got the firewood, we got the mulch. The tree will be reused and will live on in other ways, especially with tables. I might even take a couple of smaller logs and see if I can't carve some spoons out of them so that we can still keep that maple alive in different areas. Also, one thing that I didn't mention is that we do have a replacement tree coming. They will be coming once the weather clears up. We've had a lot of rain here recently. And it's supposed to rain the next couple of days, but hopefully by the end of this week, they're going to come out and grind out the stump, and then I'll have to dig out the hole. But we do have a Japanese Zelkova tree coming, and I'm hoping that that will work out well and take well here. It's another tree that will give us a lot of shade at some point. The tree that we were getting is like 8 to 10 feet tall, so it's going to take a while. It won't be much taller than I am now when it gets here. But once it gets established, it does grow 1 to 2 feet a year. So within a few years, we'll have a tree that will be probably, I don't know, close to 20 feet tall. And within a decade, we will probably have a tree that will be close to the size of, well, it will be catching up to where the maple used to be. So we will have to do without the great shade for the next few years, but at least we are getting a tree that grows fast and is not susceptible to the verticillium wilt like the maple and many other species are. This is a species, we purchased a species that will not get verticillium wilt. And so I'll put also a picture up of what the Japanese Zelkova looks like when it gets big. Also has really pretty fall colors. So I forgot to put that in there though, so throwing this in now. So that was the one section of loss. The night before we had the tree taken down, we said goodbye to Buford, who was our English Angora Rabbit of the last 7 years, who I've mentioned on a couple of different videos in the past. I did a whole video on how great rabbit manure is for your garden. And he has provided all of the rabbit manure from our garden for the last 7 years. But he was getting old. I mean, he was 7 years old and was having health problems and whatnot. And so he is gone over the Rainbow Bridge and is now buried in the backyard with our 2 old cats that we had for over a decade that are, got old and died and are buried back there as well. So the 3 of them are sleeping back there together. And hopefully if there is an afterlife for pets, I hope that they are playing together wherever that may be. So we did have some loss here. We're sad to lose Beauford. We're sad to lose our big maple tree. Buford was a sweet bunny. Gave us the Angora fur on top of the, you know, the fertilizer that we got from him. But Mitzi would, we still have tons of bags of fur that we kept from him. Whenever we would have him shaved down, she would keep the bags of fur, and she's made like some gloves and other stuff out of the fur over the years, and she still has lots of bags of fur that she's collected that at least we can still make some things out of the fur that we got from him in time. So Buford will not only live on in our hearts, but also in maybe, you know, some gloves or a hat or something too. That kind of sounds horrible, doesn't it? So yeah, while this, you know, springtime is a time of rebirth and renewal, we've also experienced some loss at the same time. So I wanted to share those two things about what was going on here at the little homestead. And like I said, we will get back into gardening things coming up here soon. I also have a couple of smaller raised beds that I'm going to rebuild. My old ones have kind of started to fall apart, the really old like little wooden beds that I had, and I'm going to redo those in a different, sort of a different form, different building form, and I will do some videos on making some cheap raised wooden beds too, coming up this season, so stay tuned. So again, I hope you guys had a fantastic Easter. We are coming into spring, and whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, I hope that you are you know, growing great things or building great things, and just, you know, being with the ones you love. So thanks for hanging out with me again here today, and we will see you again soon. Have a great day. Namaste.